thing will save you from breaking your back. The back of the coffers breaks with the burden of life. You know, so much accidents happen, losses in business, so many things. They kill themselves, they commit suicide because they cannot bear the burden of life. What the Holy Quran, the guidance in the Holy Quran does, it takes away the burden of life. It makes it very light. So walk, run towards Allah. But here, Allah has taken initiative. He has come to you. He has come to you.
Again, we're going to point out the falsehood that is in the actual entire lecture that this little clip was coming from. This is from one of his greatest miracles of all time lectures, where he talks about the miracles alleged miracles that happened in South Carolina and New York. And we're just going to point out a few other things that he said in these same discourses. So here he talks about how that when people come to Pakistan, that they live in palaces, or, palaces, mansions. They live like princes or princesses and just luxury. He even talks about how there's a big villa in the Himalayan mountains and that people that live there don't have homes like that, but the Jamaat does. So he's bigging up like the luxury that that he has over there, waiting for the people in TMY that come to visit him. So he just talked about how much luxury he has over in Pakistan, but he immediately contradicts himself and he says, as I have said, nobody who loves Allah and nobody who belongs to Allah will be left destitute. We and people of our category, people of Allah, because he's claiming he's a person of Allah. He claims that Allah's walis, he's a wali, adopt poverty voluntarily, right? He just got to talk about how, they treat people like princes and they have palaces. And then he says, we don't need all those things. Rasulullah says some preferred poverty. We are strangers in this world and we're travelers. We don't need many things. We don't need to build up things and mansions and decorate our homes. No, we are travelers. But he just said that he has palaces and big villas and how the people there are poor, but they live in luxury. Like, this is what he's saying in the same exact lecture. Again, mixing truth and falsehood, contradicting himself. In this same lecture is where he actually claims that, people have been taken to see Imam Mahdi. And he didn't want to capitalize on that. But he says that his duty, his job is actually harder than Imam Mahdi's. Like, can you see that? It says, my duty is harder than Imam Mahdi's. He's coming from my family, right? He claims that he's coming from his family. So one of his sons is supposed to be the Mahdi. He will do what he has been given to do, and I will do what I'm going to do. So it's no big deal to say, oh, I have met Imam Mahdi. Yes, it is actually a big deal to say that you met Imam Mahdi, right? He says, let Imam Mahdi tell you that he has met me. So he claims a status over Imam Mahdi. He claims that he met Imam Mahdi. This is just clear falsehood. And anybody that could recognize this, the guy was out of his mind, or just straight making stuff up because he knew that his followers would believe it. Here, this is actually said by his top student, Hussein Adams, and where he claims that Mubarak Gilani speaks directly to Allah and Rasulullah. And he also says that there's always a connection that he has directly with Allah and Rasulullah. And of course, he claims that this Jamaat is chosen by Allah. But the interesting thing is, this is where he starts making claims, and this is all approved and reviewed by Mubarak Gilani, so anything that's said on here is also his opinion. He says that the miracle, because remember these lectures are about these alleged miracles, he says the miracle that is being shown to them is sent directly by Allah himself, and it is the biggest miracle shown to the entire world and is the greatest miracle of all time. Sorry to break it to you, the greatest miracle of all time is the Holy Quran, not some faded scribble-scrabble that you guys found on a wall that doesn't resemble anything. So he claims that that's the greatest miracle of all time. The miracle is so great, in fact, that they say that Mubarak Gilani ordered them that they actually have to make hijrah or pilgrimage. They have to make umrah to these places every year, right? Whereas people actually in the Jamaat, hardly any of them have actually made the real Umrah that was commanded by Allah and Rasulullah. But he's commanding people to make Umrah to Islamberg and Islamville, or whatever one he was talking about at this point. It's kind of nuts. And this is one of his talibs, Nordine Brooks, who was doing an introduction to the video, and he says the greatest miracle sent in the history of mankind, and its miraculous manifestation draws Muslims and non-Muslims to the holy shrine. The greatest miracle sent in the history of mankind has been revealed by God inside the Masjid of the Muslims of America's village of Holy Islamberg in Hancock, New York. So he claims, again, another student, talib, on the video that Mubarak Gilani has approved, as they're claiming that that's the greatest miracle of all time. Totally ignoring the Quran, totally ignoring, Rasulullah Isra wa Mi'raj, totally ignoring any of the miracles by any of the other prophets that have occurred. They totally ignore all those miracles and say, yes, this is the greatest miracle of all time. This is an interesting one. I just wanted to bring this up. Mubarak Gilani criticizes the macho men in the Jamaat, the men who walk around all macho, but they won't stop evil. Just wanted to bring that up. They claim that they love their sheikh and Ahl Bayt so much, but they see that their current sheikha or imam, Noor, is violating the rights of their sheikh's families by not giving an inheritance, and they won't speak up. And this also goes for all the people that are recognizing the truth and the falsehood of the TMOA, but they remain quiet and they act like big macho men, but they can't even move their lips or move their tongue to speak a word against transgressions, corruption, or falsehood. The big macho men. Even your sheikh was playing you guys, and it's even true to this day. So you see here Mubarak Gilani talking about these holy shrine places in New York. Gave it a name, Jamaat al-Qadriya Jilaniya Islamberg. He said it has become a shrine in one of the world's most holy places, and you have to give due respect. And then he says you have to go around it before you enter it. He says, so basically he's saying you have to make tawaf around it before you enter it, where tawaf is only done around the Kaaba. Another example of Mubarak Gilani telling people that they should only fear Allah, when he has said from his own mouth and instructed his talibs that if they don't fear Allah, then they should fear him, putting himself on the same level or even above Allah. Here Mubarak Gilani is instructing his followers how to do a clear innovation in worship, where he's telling them to hold hands and hold their fists above their shoulders and say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. This way of worshiping, this dhikr, this whatever he's explaining them to do, there's no hadith, nothing in the Holy Quran, nothing from the Quran and Sunnah that instructs Muslims to do this. So this is clear innovation that he's propagating. Now, this is good advice for the leaders of TMOA and, even Mubarak Gilani's children, where he says, basically, oh, this happened to me or that happened to me. And he says, if you don't have enough money, don't go and tell people. Whereas whenever they don't have enough money, they go and ask people and command people, we need more money, we need more money. We need people to pay out their Social Security. We need children to even give money out their checks. Even his family members, even though it's their Islamic right, what are they doing? They're going to the people and saying, oh, I want my money, I want my money. They're not being patient. They're going to tell everybody. They're going to complaints, which they have the children have a valid complaint because, Noor, Mubarak Gilani's widow, has effectively stolen money, allegedly, from the inheritance that was due to Mubarak Gilani's children. But what are they doing? They're complaining to everybody, making it for the whole world to see. And I'll just end this one here. There's a lot of contradictions in all these, but I'll just end this one here to keep these videos short. Talking about these shrines in New York, he says that nawafil offered here have much more significance than offered anywhere else. So he says that making salat at these holy shrines is actually more significant than making salat at the Kaaba and Masjid Nabawi and Masjid al-Aqsa, when there's clear hadiths that show that these are the three most holiest places to pray. It doesn't mention Islamberg or Hancock or Deposit, New York. It doesn't mention York, South Carolina, right? So this is just clear falsehood. So again, more examples of the falsehood of Mubarak Gilani mixed in with the truth. Don't let the little bit of truth that they're putting out there in these short videos let you forget all the falsehood that Mubarak Gilani and TMOA have taught and continue to teach and promote. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.